NSFW, what fetish did you have until you tried it? Not mine. But a guy once asked to taste his own cum. I always like to please. So I give him a blowjob and he's getting close. I asked him if he was still sure and where he wanted to finish. He very directly told to keep it in my mouth and then let him taste it. Okay then. So I kissed him and let him have it. There was like a second of OMG this is nice to when he actually tasted, swallowed and was like shocked and gagged. He was like WTF that's so awful. And kept on going EWW and wanting to spit it out. I couldn't help but laugh. We both ended up having a pretty good laugh about it. Impregnation. It was kinky at first. But after we had our child, on purpose. That fetish died fast. Eating food off of her naked body. Turns out her cooking was just really good. Ended up just getting a plate and sex after. Edit. Thank you for my first award, stranger. My GF was really into the idea of being ed on and in her mouth. So I thought why the not? I'm down to try everything once. So we got in the shower. Did some foreplay, then she started blowing me, so I just kinda awkwardly went, do I just pee whenever, and she said yeah, so I went full blast and I've never seen someone face go from aroused to disgusted so fast. I'm not into pee, she yelled as I'm unloading a very tall glass of beer I had earlier all over her. Needless to say we haven't tried it again. Saying my name during sex. She said my whole line name and it sounded like I was at the DMV. I was into light bondage for a while. It was a lot of fun until my GF and I started going to dungeons. She discovered that she loved it and I. Not so much. I tried being a dom for a friend, we made through it. But I was insanely bored just spanking a stranger. Turns out I just like it when it was us being intimate. But she liked it except for when we did it. So I broke up with her after she had a foursome at a dungeon the day after my birthday. Exhibitionism. We both wanted to watch and show off, so we found a local club. But once I went to give my partner head and was surrounded by all these dudes jacking off 2 inches from my face. I just wasn't what I expected. We ended up leaving early because I felt really gross. In self-respecting clubs, people who watch are strongly advised to give the players space. And lots of it. I confessed myself. And well, really liked the idea of someone else fisting me. Turns out it's a lot nicer when you're the one in complete control. Also possible that my ex just sucked at it. He just wanted that sweet falcon punch. I always thought it would be hot to give someone a foot job. It was not. Trying to stay balanced on my ass while looking SI and making sure not to scratch him with my toenails. My first serious girlfriend, whom I lost my virginity to, had a RP fetish. The first few times we smashed were pretty vanilla. But then she told me that she wanted me to pretend RP her. I thought it would be dangerous and thrilling. But I just couldn't get into it. She kept fighting me off. So I'd stop. And she'd say, why the did you stop? Full stop. Not for me. I always had a slight thing for biting, which I guess is more of a kink. IDK. I'm a boring person when it comes to sex anyways. However, I quickly found out that being on the receiving end kinda sucks. I have no idea why my ex loved it so much. Had a girl who would tell me how much she wanted to gag on my dick until she puked. I thought it was really hot when she would say like that. Turns out she wasn't kidding. Nothing has been less SI than seeing the dinner we just had regurgitated all over my crotch. What did she eat for dinner? Bondage. Turns out if you have claustrophobia you should probably not get tied up. Started panicking really badly until my partner realized I was freaking out for real, not playing. Hot wax. The heat is fine. But when it cools, shrinks and pulls on my lil hairs? Nope. Edit. Thank you to the 45. You need specific Szool wax. Not a Yankee candle. Edit. Exhibitionism. Almost got arrested. I did get arrested and almost ended up on the sex offender registry. Sex outdoors. My wife, then girlfriend, and I had one Christmas where teenage hormones made us decide to do it in a field. It was cold, uncomfortable, and we both had the post-orgasm clarity of why did we think this was a good idea? Rough sex. Like being shoved against a wall and forced to do everything. I thought I'd really enjoy that. But I honestly found it boring and it turned me off super quick. Backstory. The Rocky movie where he's punching a cow. I had a fantasy where I was the cow. Not that the fantasy had anything to do with Rocky. Or cows in general. This is just to visualize what was going on. It was more like an interrogation scene. Basically, strung up with my hands tied above my head and some dom working my torso with punches and kicks. Had a friend I trusted who was interested in the other side of that. And we happened to be at a fetish club one night that had the gear that we needed. So we said it. A broken rib and bruising from head to hips. I'm in no rush to repeat that one. Can't wait to see this on YouTube with a robot's voice. My husband said he liked to try dirty talk. We tried it. He didn't feel comfortable calling me a comma, etc. Got flowers and breakfast in bed the morning after. I did bondage one time and it wasn't done the right way. I laid on my stomach with my feet tied to my hands behind my back very tight with shopping bags so I couldn't move. I had something stuffed in my mouth, I think a sock, so I couldn't speak. The guy then teased me by taking a knife and bringing it very close to my eyes and throat. I was flat out terrified. We were close so it was all in good fun, but never again. Knife play is not beginner BDSM. Holy cow. I thought it would be hot to have a slave girl. Girl showed up and put on a collar, a leash and nothing else. I didn't know what to do. Like, I couldn't actually be demanding. Suck my dick, bitch. Please. If you want to. I'm sorry I called you a bitch. Someone link that one Reddit comment about the guy who thought he was into scat until he had a tie realization. I'm sorry, but he tied you up with shopping bags? Lol, reply fail, but still. I had a knife fetish and I was a masochist the first couple of times trying. It was good because my partner knew what they were doing. But then my next partner tried to do it and they thought I was going to like it when they stabbed through my whole hand. Must have been a weird conversation with the doctor. I am just here to find out what I shouldn't try in bed. I thought that getting tied up and blindfolded would be awesome. Getting tied up is panic inducing and not being able to see is boring. See? I love being blindfolded. Makes everything else way more intense. Go figure. I always liked how shiny latex looked. I then tried on a latex condom. Dick was on fire. Swollen like a corpse in water. And it didn't go down for hours. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I learned I have a latex allergy. I thought that nipple play would be fun. Orgasm denial edging. I thought it'd be this OMG amazing thing to let yourself build up so much. But it turns out coming is always more fun than not coming. Licking warm honey off her. Surprise. It's really sticky and kind of gross. Whipped cream. Yeah, it sounds SI until you actually try it. Getting tied up. Looks super hot. Until you realize that it takes forever and most foreplay doesn't work for me. Far easier to just get pinned. Or use spreaders, cuffs, etc. Having a girl pee into my mouth. It was so unbelievably salty. Also, I could taste take mushrooms from the ramen we'd had earlier. Threesomes. Way too complicated and stressful. I was with a guy for 5 years and knew to never have a threesome because of insecurities. But when I was single I was the unicorn for a few couples because I knew I didn't have to worry about my feelings in any of it. I was always stoked, but it turned into a boring couple needing me to spice things up, and they basically had foreplay with me until they found a desire to each other again. Like I never got anything out of it. Not even a slight orgasm. It was a huge letdown. I'm in a relationship now and trying to still have a threesome at some point because I think it would actually be fun to have a third party, but from my experience, I would make sure they have fun as well. I always had a fetish for tugboat boat captains, so one day me and my husband rented a tugboat and he dressed just like a tugboat captain, and then later at night I was like really not into it anymore, so we returned the tugboat and went home, and that was it. Holy, my account name is relevant. Love girls' feet. The reality of putting their frozen ass feet on your dick, on the other hand, will leave you clinging to the ceiling like a cartoon cat. Autosassinophilia. There is nothing scarier than getting close to death. At first I thought it was kinda hot. But no. I don't think so anymore. I will just stick with being vanilla for now. Autosassinophilia. There is a massive step between vanilla and autosassinophilia. Interesting that you ramped up that quickly. Tickling. No thanks. That tickles. Feet. I thought I would love sucking on feet, and it turns out it's kinda like sucking on a hand. Not good or bad. Used to be into play. Until a tweaker gave me a golden shower. Fun fact. Meth use makes your urine smell taste like cat urine. Only far worse and more bitter and chemical. Why? She didn't tell me this before I drank some of hers. I love to fantasize about reversed cowgirl. Which is harmless and extremely vanilla, one would say. Until when we did it, my then GF moved in such a way that she missed. I heard a snap. Felt and heard something tearing and was in extreme agony for quite some time. Being a bull for a couple. The SX was like a job. I had to have SX and film all these angles. Lots of specific things had to be done. It was like a weird acting and cameraman job when all I wanted to do was bang this chick. Lol, one time I missed filming the cum shot and I had to rest a couple minutes and do it all over again. That just sounds like being a freelance P-run star. Roleplay cosplay. I tried it before. But I felt bad if I called them by anything other than their real name. It seems sorta wrong. The plug suits are hot though. And I don't mind that. SX in water like the shower, pool, or lake ocean all are bad. Also SX on the beach, no thanks, nothing like sand wrecking the mood. Consensual non-consent. In reality it is ridiculously fake. But it allowed to me to figure out what I actually wanted was just a guy who would take me aggressively in the bedroom. Like non-CNC. Did anyone else have to play a very delicate game with believability on this one? Yo, it's so hot I'm making you. Now you look actually distressed, I can't handle that. Yo, overact a bit, that's better. Wife and I shared a girlfriend for a while. Sure. It was fun at first. And the SX was great. But then she tried breaking us up. And started all sorts of stupid drama. That was about 7 years ago. Wife and I are still happily married, 12 years now, and both agreed that doing something like that again wasn't worth the hassle. My wife and I had a guest star. No jealous or any of that stuff. In the end our girlfriend wanted kids and my wife and I already had 2 and we were done. We remained great friends with her until she passed away. I had shower SX and almost broke my hip. Mayo had a bruise for like 3 weeks after. Okay, so here we go. GF had a bondage fetish. I managed to get her suspended in ropes. Then she started to get muscle cramps and in my rush to get her down I forgot to hold her up. And she face planted to the floor, knocking out one of her front teeth and breaking her nose. To cover up the cause she said she tripped on the front steps to our house but failed to keep the story straight and told one of her friends she slipped in the bathroom. So they started accusing me of abusing her. Eventually one of them called the cops about it and we had to explain to the cops and everyone else that no, I wasn't abusing her. It was bondage gone wrong. Shower SX. It's just not practical. The water makes it less lubricant, not more. The shower is not big enough. Thus you keep getting blinded by water sprays from somewhere randomly. You could fall and break your knee on the porcelain. Sex on a trampoline sounds fun until you actually try it. Queening. It was a huge turn on and still kind of is. Not something I ever want to do again. The one and only time I did it was horrible. I had been begging my boyfriend, who eventually agreed to try it. Talked with a friend of mine who was willing to cuck me. The moment arrived. Boyfriend and friend tied me up and forced me to watch them. I pretty much immediately regretted it. I was too afraid to say anything and I couldn't, as my friend made sure I was securely gagged. After my boyfriend finished, my friend decided she wasn't done with the humiliation. She continued to do thing with me after he left. It was hot, but I was a wreck by that point. It destroyed so many relationships. With my friend and boyfriend. Always have a safe word or signal. This should not happen ever. Finding a solid, stable relationship with someone who wouldn't leave me. Tried dirty talk with the wife. Got my words mixed up and told her, yeah, you like it when I your dick with my PSSY. After about 15 minutes of laughing, we were able to continue. I then learned she loves when I finger her asshole after I come on it. Turns out I'm a big fan. Very vanilla. Sorry. But my ex-GF dressing like a schoolgirl. When I was 14-15, that seemed like the best thing ever. When we tried it as adults, it just felt creepy. A lot of poorly negotiated and planned out BDSM encounters. Safe. SANE and consensual people. Cuckold. Mistake were made. Edit. Our first award of my life. Thank you all. And thank you for your concern. Truth to be told, we are still together. It's just that I realize I have a lot more issues with my masculinity that I would think I had. But my partner is really reassuring, so it's okay now, and we still do freaky stuff. Different freaky stuff. Sorry for spelling mistake. I'm French. Born Jeune, registered signee a acute vows. I thought chicks with dicks was definitely something hot and horny, and then I went to Bali and ended up in bed with a beautiful Javanese singer and discovered that actually, when it comes down to it, dicks just ain't my thing. Sometimes you've gotta suck a dick to know you don't like sucking dicks. Sex in a public place. There's too much pressure not to get caught that you can't fully enjoy the experience. Makes it hard to come if you're worried you might get registered as a sex offender IMO. Old men. Especially if they have a daughter and they're making you call them daddy. It's not as hot as it sounds. A girl I knew was dating this older dude who had a daughter her age. He once asked her to dress up as his daughter and asked if he could call her by her daughter's name during sex. She yeeted the hell out of that relationship. Edit. His daughter's name. Not hers. Typo. Nipple blades. A Cards Against Humanity player I see. What? If one thing was drilled into me in my human sexuality class in college is fantasy. People fantasize about a lot, but that doesn't mean they want to do it or will enjoy it in real life. For some reason I thought being a dominant with a sub was the thing to do. Having a woman that would do whatever I asked in the bedroom was all I thought it was going to be. Then I met an actual dom and sub couple. Asked a ton of questions and the dom said I could try it with his sub. It was kind of fun at first. Got to tell her what to do and she did it. Then she didn't do something and I had to punish her. He told me what to do and I got sick over it. I was all for playfully slapping and whatnot, but he suggested whipping her till she bled. I couldn't go through with it at all. Ended up apologizing and leaving, but too long after. Having a relationship where I love unconditionally, thinking I would get the same amount back. Living. Highly overrated. Didn't even pre. In a way. All of them. I found that I've liked nearly every fetish I've tried. But only if I'm with the right people. Making eye contact. And only if power play is involved. Getting tied up. Fun. Unless it's with someone who isn't confident or doesn't know what they're doing. Did a flogging demo with a friend and found out we were too equal in dominance to get really into it. I love the violet ones a couple of guys were using on me. But someone else came in and tried it and I had to say fjord. I'm a switch and so the person I play with has to be very dominant or submissive or fetish is just not as fun. Well, everyone is sharing their story while I'm getting horny by reading. Basically most stuff I was into turned out to be not my thing. Feet was more interesting when I was together with a ballerina who could work those feet, but not when you are in a based relationship with someone of normal caliber in that aspect. Threesomes. I had 4 in total. 2 with to-be women and me as a B-male in my university days, 1 with a colleague from work and her husband. One of the MMF ones was actually more fun, but all 4 were messy in general. One was even with a pregnant woman and that was a whole different mess since cuckolding was involved. Non-consensual consent. I'm too much of a softie for that. It is easier to imagine when browsing the web, but actually doing it yourself is a whole different thing. However, one thing that many people hate here but I began to love was pegging. My GF at the time threatened me that if I get too cocky in bed, she would someday chain me up and me with a DLDO. She did and we really enjoyed it. Being choked. I was tied and being strangled from behind and started seeing spots. And couldn't signal that it was too much. Thankfully my partner was attentive and knew to stop. I thought I was into being dominated, so I told the guy I was seeing to talk rough to me, but as soon as he started being mean, I realized I actually wasn't into that, and so I told him to stop, but he was still in character. When I started crying he realized I wasn't acting. Looking back I actually find it hilarious, but in the moment, my feelings were really hurt. My ex peed in my butt during an L. It gave me a horrendous stomachache and I shat watery brown crap into the toilet for about an hour after. Worst surprise enema ever. As in Azul reading this, you all are wild and dirty F. Eating PSSY. Thought it would be yummy and give her excitement. Big nope. She didn't like the way I was doing it because she wasn't very sensitive or something. She didn't want to explain. Besides, it smelled really bad down there because she said she didn't shower. But she still wanted me to try it. I think I'd probably take another shot at it with another girl. I've been enthusiastically eating PSSY for over 10 years. 1. Maybe work on your technique. Watch some educational videos. 2. Find a girl who's clean. Spanking. It hurts, I ate it. Stepsister. Coming on my own face. The position to do it is uncomfortable. You have to lie down on the floor and put your lower back against the wall. After one pump my horny brain immediately started to regret it. But I decided to commit to it anyways. Unfortunately my dick never had enough force to hit my face as I imagined it. It sorta just landed on my chest. My stomach and the rest couldn't even leave my groin area. So now I'm just a big mess and I'm looking at myself. TF is wrong with you lol. Waddled to the bathroom, cleaned myself up and decided that's not really my tea. I truly do believe though if men were able to maintain their horniness and come just as much a second time immediately afterwards, with the whole build up and all, I would be all about this fetish or perhaps other fetishes. But alas. My head immediately rejected it all after the first pump. Wild. Glasses. Turns out I'm blind as. It's hard to keep it up while concentrating on tying knots. Gay stuff, so homophobes you'll want to skip this one. I love, and I mean love, the feeling when I'm bottoming and I can feel a guy's dick pulse when he finishes. It's so hot. However, I hate the feeling of having cum inside me. I was with my ex for a long time. We got tested. We ed. There's me trying to be all sensual. Lean in. Come inside me. Even did the SI lip bite thing. He did. That pulsing feeling was so great. Then. My stomach was immediately like something's up there that probably shouldn't be, switch on the emergency siren. Ever tried waddling to the bathroom post coitus whilst your stomach is doing the Defcon 1 slam dance? I love gay sex, but man, it's a lot of maintenance. Degrading submission. Turns out I don't want to be on my knees. Hit in the face with a dick with my hands tied behind my back. One girl's nightmare is another girl's dream. Golden showers, she liked doing so on my crotch while doing it. And she was like, your mouth and face? Sure, why not? I said. Boy, was I wrong. That burnt my eyes and bitter as all hell. Never again. Will stay with the crotch. Thank you. SX. I grew up pretty religious, but not young earth religious. Didn't date much in high school or college because it wasn't that enjoyable the few times I tried it. And have zero interest in random hookups or one night stands. Eventually got into a serious relationship. And we both planned to wait until marriage to have sex. Which we did in my mid-20s. After the initial novelty period, 2-3 months, my interest quickly waned. It caused a lot of issues in our marriage and was a minor factor in our divorce several years later. At some point, I heard the term azul. And after some research, I now identify as that. I haven't had sex, or anything approaching it, in 7+ years and don't miss it. I'm a decent looking guy. Emotionally available. And, probably most importantly, don't care whether I'm going to get laid. So I've had my share of offers. But all I want are cuddle buddies.